Hello there. This third week of training has been a mixed bag. On Wednesday, I felt pretty terrible. But, like I said, if you feel terrible one day, train anyway. If you still feel bad the next day, take that day off. So I did. And it was not a great workout, but I made it through. And come Thursday, I felt terrible. So I took Thursday off. Or rather, I went very light, just some running. Then came Friday, was still feeling pretty bad, so I again kept it light. And then Saturday, I ended up going through my testing as usual. There were some ups and downs. I had figured that since I had taken 2 days very light, I would be able to see some improvements, just sort of as a mini taper. Sort of like we did while swimming. We'd have a couple of light days into a minor meet so that we'd feel a little bit rested going into the meet and be able to perform better. And that was true to some extent. Pull-ups have matched chin-ups, so yay for that. Push-ups went from mid-30s into mid to upper 40s, so I was stoked to see that. It's been a long time coming, and I'm glad to finally have been able to cross that barrier. However, when we look at sit-ups, those dipped. I went from 30s into 20s, and then the run dipped as well. I went from about an 8:45 minute mile pace down to a 10:27 minute mile pace. And so that combined with the fact that I have been pretty tired most days of this plan has led me to believe that I'm spreading myself too thin, that by stressing so many systems, none of the systems are able to recover and adapt properly. That I just went too hard to begin with, and that I am seeing some results, but that the rest on Thursday, Friday really helped show me that by allowing more recovery, I would probably be better served. And so I'm going to go ahead and make some changes. The first change I've decided to make is to focus on one thing, really. And that first thing is going to be cardio, because it's a long, difficult process to build an aerobic base, at least in swimming. And I assume that running cardio is essentially the same thing as swimming cardio. You just get to choose to breathe all the time instead of having to decide when to breathe. And so I'm going to be running 6 days a week, and I'm thinking about adding in some days where I run once in the morning and once in the evening. That way I get a little bit of a split effect there, that it's not just every 24 hours or so that I'm running. I can't quite put it into words, and I don't know the research behind it, but while I was swimming, when I had doubles, I did see a noticeable benefit from it. So I'm going to apply that over here, just making sure that I don't go so far as to feel like I did this Wednesday. I'm also going to focus on one other thing. I'm going to bring in gymnastics rings. Now, I have not used these before, so I'm not very competent, and I'd like to be competent. And I'd like to be able to do a good number of my strength training exercises on the rings, since I don't have access to a whole lot of weights or to a gym right now. And so I'm going to go ahead and use that as a limiting factor to say, well, right now I can't do any strength training exercises with the rings because I can't stabilize on them. So I'm going to work on the ability to stabilize on the rings. And once I have that, then I will start adding in other exercises for strength. Hopefully this will allow me to build up enough cardio first that those muscles are able to recover properly and gain the strength they need without being required to share their recovery with other muscles and other stresses. And then once I get into the ability to do those strength training exercises again, I'm going to go ahead and limit it so that I'm not doing the same exercises every single day. We'll have a rotation of perhaps legs, then a day of chest and back, and perhaps a day of sort of arms, shoulders. Get everything there so that things are spread out and that things are being stressed to perhaps 3 times a week, but that it's not every single day. And I expect that I will see a more steady progression with that than what I have been doing, because I'll have more rest for each of the muscle groups and allow me to go a little bit harder with each of the days that I get to work those muscles. So that's my plan going forward. I'm not sure what I'll do for testing or if I'll continue it next week. I'm going to see how I'm feeling towards the end of the week, see where things are. I think that by changing the plan, it's going to make it easier for me to adhere to the plan. I think that if I had stuck with it as it was, I'd have an issue with adherence, and that I might give up on intensity or on workouts that I shouldn't be giving up on because I'm not interested in it. It's miserable. I'm not capable of performing at this intensity comfortably yet. And so I think that making this change will still allow me to get to my goals, but we'll do it in a way where I'm looking forward to what I'm doing instead of dreading it. So I hope that if you are setting goals, well, first I hope you're setting goals, and that with those goals, if they're not working for you, that you assess, that you take a look and you say, is this from something I'm doing? Is it that I'm doing things improperly, or is it that the goal is wrong? And I think that the goals are still right. I think I can still achieve those goals, and I think it's just the plan that needs some tweaks. And I can't say it's surprising. I am not a runner, and I'm not somebody who's very good at strength training. So it makes sense that the plan I set up with would be overly optimistic and that it needed to be adjusted. So hopefully this iteration is closer to where I'm able to function well, and that I continue to see progress with it. However, if I'm not, we'll go back and we'll take another look and reassess then. So until next time, cheers.